Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hearthstone Meta Hype. I'm here with Ecor. What is up, Ecor? Did you get that aggro conversation off your chest? Really? Did you?
Yeah, for the most part, yes. I got it mostly off of my chest.
All right, and so what we're talking about is in segment 1, we did a whole conversation about aggro. So if you are watching this video over here, make sure that you subscribe to Ecor's channel and check out that video. You'll also see that card in the end screen as well. Before you do that, if you like this kind of content, give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the VENGADRAGON channel and Ecor's channel, of course, too. So what we're going to talk about in this segment is, has Hearthstone delivered on what we asked for? So I'm just going to throw that question to you as it is, and then maybe you need to more clarification of what that question is, Ecor. Do you, or do you understand what I'm saying?
I think I understand it. I mean, I can answer it, and if I misinterpreted it, you can just correct me after I give my answer and make a fool of myself.
No, never you. You don't make, not Ecor. Ecor is on point, guys and girls.
Okay, so in terms of have they delivered, I'm going to say, at least for me, the answer is yes. And overall, at least for me, when I was thinking about things that I would want for Hearthstone, is one, another game mode. Then they have promised to deliver on that. We've talked about the good old days of fighting for the board, right, as opposed to the ridiculous power creep that we have today. And they're bringing in Classic. The fact that the Battle Pass started off terrible, but has progressively gotten better and better. The fact that this most recent expansion looks good enough to just immediately jump in and have some cool decks, but doesn't look like insanely broken. I do think that there's some broken, probably problematic things, but for the most part, it looks pretty decent. And I think that Blizzard and Hearthstone have been more transparent. For the past year and a half, they've been pretty consistent with nerfs to make sure things don't get out of hand, which for the first 2 or 3 years of Hearthstone almost never happened. But they've started to do that more consistently overall. I think Hearthstone's in a fine spot. The only issue for me right now is just how expensive Hearthstone is. I feel like if you made Hearthstone half as expensive, it would probably be the best. Well, that's a subjective statement, but a much better digital card game. So far, they've delivered on most things. They do have some room to improve, I guess, not just in the pay situation, but also a little bit in balancing, I guess. But overall, I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Have they delivered on what we've been asking for? And there's also one other thing as well, too, that that I wanted to include in that. We'll talk more about it as well, like the things that you mentioned. But the thing that I was also thinking about, which you didn't mention, is did they deliver in that board type of archetype where you have to control the board, win the board, and get your cards up there? Did they deliver on that? And it looks like the answer to that question is yes. We got what we wished for. And the funny part is when I looked at it, right, I've done a whole series of reviews of every single card. I wouldn't call them reviews. It's more reveals. I just kind of went through them. There were so many. The last video actually was an hour and a half long. And I looked at it and I said, I just talked about a 1-mana 1/2 for 5 minutes. And it's who cares, right? There's in the last Monday, there was hardly any good cards that were we're talking about. Most of them were just kind of filler packs and stuff, but essential to the game, but nothing really that exciting. But then I started to realize, I said, you know what? If you looked at Hearthstone from the way that it was on the other expansions, like Scholomance and Dark Moon, right? You didn't quite have that Ticketus card. You didn't quite have that card that you were like, oh my goodness. Everything was broke. This is broken. Wow, look at how expensive that ominous card that you go, oh my God, I gotta get that. I must do it, right? So we've gotten what we wished for, but as far as the result, what has occurred now is you kind of have this weird meta that's like, no, it's not weird. It was more like kind of subdued, right? It's sort of subdued. Now, what that means is that we're going to be playing more chess. It's like we're going to be playing chess rather than we're going to be playing
checkers, which is what we've been playing.
Yeah, or even like dominoes when you slam the table down or something, you know, like these explosive turns and stuff like that. Now, for the audience, right? If you're watching it like on Hearthstone esports and stuff like that, that might be like kind of like it could be good and bad for them. Like there won't be these like big explosive turns and like, oh, you know, like shoutcasting. Oh my goodness, look at that. It's a Yogs, you know, like crazy stuff. But
yeah,
to a certain degree, those cards are still going to be there. We don't know how the cards are going to interact with what's in the meta now, right? So, but the new player that's coming in, the player that hasn't played in the meta that we've been playing in for the last, say, year and a half or even 2 years, they're going to see the game and they're going to be like, wow, this is really cool. This is great. This is like trading and stuff. They don't know the power creeps and stuff. You understand what I'm saying?
That's an interesting thing to talk about. Like, new players don't know what the game used to be. Like, they don't know how underpowered the game used to be, like, compared to now. The ignorance is bliss for that one, honestly. Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
The good old days of Hearthstone.
So they're putting in the classic mode, right? So Hearthstone puts in the classic mode so you can see what the game used to be like, right? And like I was like thinking, I'm like, yeah. The other day I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna play the classic mode. I'm gonna be into that. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. It's gonna be awesome, right?
I'm probably gonna play standard, yeah.
Yeah. I bet that like you'll play it, you'll just be like, it's kind of like drinking 2 beers and you're like having a good time, you're falling down drunk. The more you do that, you need 6 beers to fall down drunk.
Oh,
you know, you build up a tolerance to it. You understand what I'm saying?
I was so confused when you said it's like you drink 2 beers and you're falling down drunk, and I was like, what are you talking about?
But you understand the analogy, right? It's
But you continued it. It was the tolerance thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's just like the tolerance, you build up a tolerance level. So like the thing is what's happened is over the last year or so, or even year and a half, I think I've built up a big tolerance to crazy things happening, you know, like the Demon Hunter.
It's just expected now. You're just like, oh, well, they played Prime and the Prime cast 3 puzzle boxes. It did 22 damage to each of us, wiped the board, gave him like a whole board of minions, wiped it again, gave him a weapon, destroyed that weapon, froze both of us, and discarded both of our hands.
Exactly.
Well, okay. Next turn.
I think it all started with Shutterwalk, really. Like you're like when Shutterwalk came into the meta, you just like you know, this game is so broken and so crazy that you're just numb to everything else. Now, interesting, here's my conspiracy. We're back to one of the conspiracy theories here, right? Hearthstone on the 25th of this month, March, is going to add back in a whole bunch of unnerfings and stuff like that and kind of just put things back into them. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at the patch notes right now and it says, unless otherwise stated, the changes below will go into effect with the patch on March 25th. So there it is. It says it right there. So that's what it'll be. This is March 25th. So the cool news is that what that's going to do is just going to blind us. We're just going to get completely just overblown out. Like we're going to literally just, our heads are going to explode because there are some pretty reverts that are just going to be in the meta for 5 days, right? So they're going to beat us into submission so that we won't notice that the new expansion is very underpowered. That's what they're doing. I'm telling you, that is a conspiracy-esque type of thing, but I believe there is some truth to it. They are going they're doing
the first
that.
expansion is usually the weakest anyway, because they can't make the first expansion really, really strong because it'll be the expansion that's in the meta the longest. Mm-hmm. But I also do think that they look pretty strong. I'm so excited for Elementals.
Yeah.
My name used to be Elemental Core.
Yeah.
But people were like, you don't play elementals enough, so I just changed myself to E-Core, but I might go back to Elemental Core and play all the elementals.
Yeah, the elementals is really cool. It's a throwback to the journey to Ungoro.
Yeah.
And the elementals,
one of my favorite expansions ever.
Yeah,
maybe my favorite.
Yeah, they had some very cool interactions with the elementals. The elementals are definitely cool. They're very, to me, very like fantasy, medieval, not medieval, more fantasy driven, like as opposed to where mechs are not really as fantasy driven to me. Like, so it's like elementals, wizards, golems, giants, and then all of a sudden you throw in mech. I think elemental is a natural for the game, so I really do like the tribe. Elementals and dragons, that's what it is. Mages, elementals, and dragons. And I never play mage really, so that's the deal. But I think all in all, what it is Hearthstone has delivered on what we've asked for. But the thing is wishing for what you want and then getting it, all of a sudden you might be a little bit underwhelmed. And that's really what the point of this whole thing was for me. I got sort of underwhelmed by the new expansion. I looked at it, I'm like, But then I thought, you know what? This is what I wanted, didn't I? I wanted that mid-range trading, sort of little less aggro, a little less OTK, some interaction with the OTKs. I mean, Ticketus, and then you can now with Warlock, you can burn 3 extra cards, I think. So you could burn 11 cards of your own. I mean, 6 cards of your own, and also 5 of your opponent. Maybe you can drop down Ticketus twice, and you can burn up to 16 cards from your opponent's deck. So there's some countering those things. I don't know if you have enough time to do it, but then it's there.
That's another thing. With some cool combos, sometimes you just don't have the time or mana to like actually pull them off. They're cool in theory.
Yeah.
But sometimes don't like go as planned.
Yeah, do they have a win rate? Like it's like, you know, there's some that are just absolutely not going to, like your opponent just won't win if you pull it off. But getting there, for example, like I recently did something on stream where I did the Death Rattle TK with Deathwing. It took me 20 tries to win one game, but there was no chance I would lose once I pulled off the combo. So
do you watch Mark Z?
Yeah, that's where I got it from. I gave him credit in the video. Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah, I once watched him talk about how long it takes him to make his videos, and he's like, I will stream the entire day to get 2 wins for the deck to make a video. That is what I do. Yeah. Like I will spend the entire day on one deck. I'm just like, I can't do that. Yeah. But it's just so that there are combos there. It's just whether or not they're actually good or not.
Yeah, they're not viable combos, but there's fun.
Yeah, there are combos everywhere.
I do watch him sometimes because I just want to see the broken stuff. But there's one thing that he does which really gets me angry, is when he complains about how unlucky he is or how lucky his opponent is getting. And he's sitting there playing a deck that's literally, when it wins and it beats the opponent, they're going to unload the software and perhaps never play again. They're going to uninstall and be like,
I can't believe I just lost to that. I just lost to this. There's no way.
Yeah. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're getting so lucky. Oh, wow. Another Deathwing on the board. Oh, wow. You're just so lucky. And he's complaining. I'm like, dude, you're about to put the beat of the century on this guy. and
you're complaining? You have the audacity to complain about this?
That's the only thing.
No, he's great, though. I love his videos. Well, I don't love him, but like I watch him when I want to see a cool OTK deck. I don't know.
Yeah, I do, too.
I kind of just tune out and just wait.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna come clean with everybody. I usually just go to the OTK. I don't watch any of the other stuff.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I thought I was the only one. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
With OTK decks. I don't know.
Yeah, he's cool. It's cool to see. It's very creative, and definitely check it out. I mean, his channel is what I don't even know how to pronounce his name. It's a Mark, like with
I just call him Mark Z,
WI,
because I know his name starts with Mark and there is a Z.
And a
So I just
Z,
call it
and
Mark Z.
and a wick, and a W, and a C, and a W, and a Z.
Every time I look him up on YouTube, I just go Mark Z space and then Hearthstone, and he is always the first thing that shows up. And I'm like, that's all I need. Need to get my daily dose of OTK in.
There you go. So that's our guy, Mark Z, Hearthstone. You could find him if you haven't done that already. But yeah, I think we've talked about like pretty much all of the things that, like I was saying, in the meta. We've always have such good conversations here. One of the things I really do enjoy is talking to Ecor. He's a very knowledgeable player. You can check him out. He does stream on YouTube, and I do as well. I stream on YouTube.
That's also
and
true.
I'm also putting out content. I got a new content schedule, which will be released for April. I got some really cool things planned, and
it's true. You've been a lot more consistent. I've seen your videos pop up like consistently. I'm like, wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, man. You know, I got myself a little time on my hands to now make some content and also stream as well. So we'll be streaming, both of us. You can see us on YouTube. And make sure that you get over to Ecor's channel to hit that subscribe button. But before you do that, hit the subscribe here and the like. And as I always say, stay hype, and we'll see you next week.